Hello everyone, I'm here with Samantha Grady and you are here building a gingerbread house, is that correct?
Yeah, I am.
What was your experience like building these houses?
It was really fun. I got to collaborate with my friends and just have an overall good time. So,
Did you build a one-story or a two-story house?
well, we built a two-story, but then it fell, so it ended up being a one-story.
A ranch is a house, that makes sense. What was your favorite material to use?
The frosting, probably.
Did you eat any of the frosting?
Maybe.
She did not eat any of the frosting. Would you say that this is a fun experience? Would you come back and do this again?
Definitely, yeah.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Sam.
Thank you.
Can you tell us about your structure, your gingerbread houses?
I'm not really sure if it's a kit.
Just building as you go? They building two houses or one house or?
It was supposed to be a mansion, but then it turned out that way.
It's definitely it's 4 stories. 4 stories and 2 different houses, so I think that would qualify as more than just a house. It's certainly very decorative. What colors did you decide to go with?
I decided to go with Christmassy colors, and then I started doing so I just started using what I had. That's true. We did
Very cool. Is this the front over here? And you have gumdrop bushes?
Yeah.
So I'm told.
So what are you doing right now? Are you making bushes or are you making material? Well, thank you very much, Tracy.
I don't really know what I'm building.
Not like in a bad way.
It's a house, I guess.
So you decided to go with the graham cracker and then the top with the pretzel rods. So is this like the second floor? Is this like a balcony area?
The way I see it is that this place is kind of storing, like, this is the house.
Yeah.
Then the roof here is storing, like, just like pretzels. Yeah, basically. So it's like a store of pretzels and you got the storage here. Maybe pretzel business.
Yeah, it's like one of those houses where like you have the business below and then the house on top.
Yeah, basically. And yeah, that's what I'm making. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
What has been the most complicated part so far?
Probably just like getting the second floor right now. Trying to, because you got some cracks here, I gotta get those out. Probably have to get a ladder, like ladder right here, so it looks like they can get the logs whenever they want. Yeah, that's about it.
And thank you very much, Sagi. So I'm here with.
Izzy, Sage.
So what are you guys building here? What is your artistic plan?
We're making a train and then a station with the train.
That seems like a very good thing. I love the peanut butter cups as the wheels. That seems like a very smart decision.
We were trying to get it so it'd stand up on top of them, but it didn't really work out. So we're improvising.
That's a good part of it. So you guys seem to be using all the different materials you have right here. What has been the most fun to work with?
Should we do
I think the icing, just because you can put it everywhere. Also, it's like crazy sticky, so finding it in like weird places in your hands is kind of fun.
Oh, it's gonna be like a long.
No, that's a good answer. Only you have the light.
I mean, I agree that the frosting is the most fun. I don't know about the finding it in your hands, but yeah.
What do you think the frosting? What do you think is best about the frosting?
It's like versatile. You can use it for all of it, and like it'll stick. It'll stick.
That's the definition of glue.
It's edible glue then.
Oh, that's true.
Now, what is happening over here?
That's the house that was someone else's fallen house, and now we're using it for parts.
You're reclaiming the lumber, as it would be. So you're recycling.
Yeah, we're recycling.
Yay, recycling!
Sounds like an excellent answer. What are the gummy bears being used for?
People.
Oh yeah, we have a little train conductor in here. Yeah, and we're gonna make little train seats, and we're gonna put them in the car, and we're gonna be sitting.
Sounds like an excellent idea.
Oh, it's just like a little marshmallow. Okay. Yeah, it's the trash can.
It's a trash can.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
that works.
Yeah,
Are we having?
Do you have any ideas for us? What we can add?
Well, maybe some tracks, maybe some pretzel rod tracks.
That is a good idea.
Can you tell us a little bit about your creation here?
So we're making like a family house, and on the porch here we have like the parents of the 3 kids playing with the snowman and like the snow in the front, and like the like the other family members who came to visit for the holidays and stuff.
Wow. So is it like, this is like the outside area right here, and then the back is the inside?
Yeah, like in the box here, that's where the house is, and then like in front here is where the kids are like playing in the snow.
Is it like a snowman in the corner?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, wow, that's like a little couch. Oh, that's cool. And what has been the most difficult part here?
Opening the pretzel sticks bags and opening gummy bears bags with frosting all over our hands.
Fair enough. Well, thank you very much. Frau Pierce, and you are here hosting the gingerbread building competition?
Yes, I am. It's the second annual gingerbread house building contest, actually.
How, it must have been so successful that you brought it back.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's just a lot of fun to have people in the room after school and doing stuff that's German.
Did they build a lot of gingerbread houses in Germany?
This is actually the time of year when traditionally gingerbread houses are made, and inside they actually hide cookies. And so you'll find, and they'll put them somewhere in the house and display. And the kids will go into the house and steal the cookies. And yeah, so it's a very German tradition.
And during Christmas, isn't there like Christmas festivals or Christmas carts, or there's some sort of Christmas like display that you go to that's all over Germany, and then there's one big one that I forget the name of. But there's a lot of different German traditions when it comes to Christmas.
Yeah, Germany is it is an officially Christian country, even though they're very open and tolerant of all religions. And because of this tradition, they have various and sundry things, like they celebrate St. Nicholas Day. It's the day off today in schools on St. Nicholas Day, because St. Nicholas, who's the precursor to Santa Claus, goes around and he has a big golden book, and he goes around with his slave, and called Knecht Ruprecht, and they visit the children's houses, and the children sing or say a poem, and then St. Nicholas looks in his big golden book to see if they're on the good list or the naughty list. And if they're on the good list, they will get an orange or some nuts and things like that. If they're in the naughty list, then Knecht Ruprecht will play a little trick on them.
Oh my! So you want to be a good person.
Indeed. It's the old way that they used to teach kids to be good and bad. And they used to be very, very mean about it, but now it's just, Knecht Ruprecht might just tease them a little bit.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he was a very cruel person. Like,
That's actually the Austrian version. In Austria, they have something called Campus. And Campus is a very scary thing, and they're not always nice. And the Campus is actually quite evil, and he does not go around with Saint Nicholas. He's a separate entity, and they have parades and things like that are more popular in the Tyrol area and in Austria.
So what gave you the idea to start doing this gingerbread building competition?
Oh, it just seemed like a fun thing. Except that every year, whenever I try to build a gingerbread house, I start weeping. And so my husband told me that he'd rather that I didn't do it because he was tired of seeing me cry all the time. So I just thought it would be fun, just a fun way to bring in the German tradition here at Canton High.
Sounds like a wonderful idea. Is there going to be a third annual?
I certainly hope so. I hope that the tradition will continue as long as I am here, and if we're lucky, maybe thereafter.
Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
So, as things wrap up here at the second annual CHS Gingerbread Building Competition, these are some of the entries right here, and it seems like it's going to be a tough choice for the judges on which one they like the best. Thank you so much for joining us here on Canton Community Television.
Now it's time for Word of the Week.
Savvy means to be shrewd and knowledgeable, to have common sense and good judgment. For example, Maggie is very tech savvy when she's in the editing closet on iMac 11. As you can see here, she's editing our Dazzle the Dolphin interview. Good job, Maggie. Katie, on the other hand, is not as savvy, especially when it comes to French. She gets confused with all the long, difficult words.
Je ne suis pas savvy.
The word is savvy.
This program is brought to you by Canton Community Television, now from the television studios of Canton High School.
Welcome to the Dog Pound. I'm your host, Andrew Kerchak. Today I have here with you a senior captain of the Canton High School cross-country team. After doing cross-country for 4 consecutive years, ever since her freshman year, she landed herself a role as a senior captain this fall season. With now a handful of experience and the season having come to a close, I introduce to you Emily Kelly.
Hi, I'm happy to be here.
Hi, Emily. So, for our first question, why did you get into running cross-country your freshman year?
I wanted to play soccer, but I was horrible at soccer. So my mom she was a big marathon runner, so she forced me to do cross country and literally dragged me to the first practice, and I hated it, but then I just gradually fell in love with it, and then it's just yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it. So my mom pretty much just forced me to do it against my will. And then I was like, oh, this is actually really awesome.
Do you think your parents were like a big influence in you like starting your running journey?
Yeah, my mom ran like 6 marathons or 4. It was either 5 or 6, I can't remember. But she would run with me when I was really little in elementary school, and then I kind of stopped for a few years. And yeah, she keeps a picture of her finishing the Boston Marathon in her office, and I always just looked up to that, and I thought that was really cool.
Did you have any like experience running prior to high school?
No, except for when I was in elementary school, I did this thing called Girls on the Run, which it was like a club that my 4th grade teacher started at the school with a few other girls from my grade, and we would just like run. It wasn't really running, we were just like running laps because we were like 9. But at the end of the year, the big thing was like there was a 5K race that it was like a fundraiser that the organization was doing, and so we all went to it after. And so I did that, and I liked it, but then I never like ran again after it until high school. So it was kind of like a little like, I don't know, sign of what's to come in high school, like my first 5K and then running in high school.
Yeah. Everyone has doubts and challenges when it comes to starting something new. Explain to us what was new about cross country that during your 2019 freshman season you didn't know you were to expect.
I definitely didn't think it was gonna be, first off, I didn't realize how hard it was gonna be like starting, but then I didn't think of like how much easier it was gonna get by the end of the season. Like the first day we had to run 4 miles, and I had never ran that much ever, and I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. It was like the hardest. I had to keep walking and stopping. And then now I can run like 10 miles fine, or like by the end of the season then it was like 6 miles my freshman year. So I was surprised at first how hard it was, but then like how much you can improve really fast.
What do you think your like first impressions of the sport were?
I don't know. I thought it was kind of weird because I was used to soccer and just having like something that's like straightforward, like you know what you need to do and like you know your position, you know everything. Whereas running is so much more of like you have to figure out for yourself how to succeed because it's different for every person. Like you have to fix your own form. You have to like constantly be aware of everything like your body's doing instead of just having sort of like a set list of rules for what you need to do.
Yeah. What made you decide to continue running and influenced you to continue your journey as a cross-country runner?
I would probably say like last year was when I really like fully fell in love with running. After COVID, I was just like stuck in my house in that spring when it first shut down. And then I started like running for fun then and not just for cross-country. And it's just such a great like stress reliever. It's just amazing. Like it gives me so much confidence, and it's just like such a feeling of like clarity and balance. And so I was just like, well, I need to keep doing this because it's totally just like the best feeling.
What do you think made you fall in love with the sport? Like, because you said you like saw it as more of like a chore and like not something that you would like, you know, love.
Yeah. I feel like definitely the people. Going into having done a sport with just all girls and not a co-ed sport, like before when I was just doing soccer with all girls, the environment is totally different. You would think like the two teams are separate, but everyone is just so supportive, and we're all literally like a family. We spend like literally 24 hours a day together. And this season especially, you know, we were together like constantly. And the people, it's just such an awesome community. And like especially in times over high school when I've struggled, I've really needed that. So I feel like that's definitely why I stayed, was because the people are just so awesome.
As your freshman season ended, describe how your mindset changed or developed more going into sophomore year as a cross-country runner.
I feel like I definitely had more like confidence, and also like I wanted to do better because I saw like the other girls in my grade that were like making varsity for cross country or that were faster than me, and I was like, oh, I want to do that because I was friends with all of them, and I was like, oh, I want to push myself to be at their level or even like a little better or just better than I was before. So yeah, like coming out of my freshman season, I definitely, from the start, I didn't really like care that much. I was like, oh, I'm just going to do this because my mom's forcing me to. But then by the end, I was like, oh, I actually want to take this seriously and get better.
Do you think there was like a lot of competition between your teammates to be the best?
Not really. I mean, the thing is, it's a team sport, but it's also such an individual sport. Like, pretty much to make the team the best, you have to be the best on your own. So it's not like, oh, I have to be faster than so-and-so, or I have to be better than them. It's more of, I need to run the best that I can so other people can do the same. So it's pretty much like, the environment isn't like, oh, I need to be better than them so I can get more recognition. It's what can I do to be my best so we all get what we want and like recognition as a team.
Yeah, so would you say like the team really like uplifted you into trying to like do your best?
Totally. The environment, everyone's so supportive. You should hear everyone just cheering for each other, and everyone, it's all just like a team mindset. There's no like me, it's just all about us and like what we can do to help each other be like the best. It's so amazing.
Tell us about any major accomplishments or records you broke your sophomore year that made it even better than freshman year.
So I still wasn't very fast sophomore year, so there's not like a huge record I broke. I think just like personally, I feel like that's when I started to take it a lot more seriously. So I would say that would definitely be like an accomplishment, I feel like, because that was coming out of like the first spring of COVID. I just was ready to start taking it a lot more seriously, and I remember just we trained so hard that fall, and I feel like I put like so much effort into that I hadn't before. So I feel like that would be like an accomplishment.
Yeah, totally. What do you think, like why didn't you take it as seriously before your sophomore season?
I think, well, this is because I hadn't been in like the cross-country environment for too long, but I just had total like horrible self-confidence, and so I wasn't like, I thought I was like embarrassed to be part of like the cross-country team because I was like, as much as I liked it, I was like, oh, like that some people think it's like a weird sport or it's not like a real sport, so I wasn't like totally comfortable with giving it like 100% like the effort and the pride that I have for it now, because I was like, oh, well, people are going to think I'm just like hardo if I take it super seriously. But then after, like, by my sophomore season, I was like, I don't care. And I was just like proud to take it really seriously.
Yeah. Explain what it was like running during the pandemic the last 2 years. What changed and what was different?
I think we had to run in masks, which is a small thing, but it was horrible. And you miss some of the fun of like the larger invitationals that we go to now that we're able to go to this year. And last fall we were able to go to them, but before there were a lot of them that we couldn't go to because just you can't have 1,000 people all together, just cram packed like that in a start line. So that was definitely something that was weird, just having like the distancing from your teammates and also from like the runners on other teams. Even though we're competing against each other, we're all friends and we know each other, and it's fun to just be like, oh, hey, how are you? And just goof off with the other teams. And COVID, you couldn't be like on the course, you had to be a certain, it was really weird. There were weird restrictions that don't really make sense for like what cross-country racing is. But I'm definitely glad it's back to normal now because it's a lot more connection with the other teams and with your team.
Yeah. Could you tell us a little bit more about like invitationals and what they are?
Yeah, so basically most of them have qualifying standards. So you have, like one we went to this year, there might be a picture of it, but it's the Twilight Invitational. So basically it's schools from New England, New York, I think it's New England and New York, and it's at night, so everyone runs at night at the Cape Cod Fairgrounds, and each race is about 300 people, so it's a lot. But it's such a blast. You run through this course with a ton of Christmas lights, and the adrenaline of those huge invitationals is just crazy because you're running with like 300 other girls or 300 other guys, and they're some of like the fastest in the region. Like you could be in a race with someone that runs like a 15-minute 5K, and it's crazy to run in a race like that. It's such a blast.
Going into your junior year running cross country and finally being an upperclassman, describe what challenges came with now being seen as a role model for the freshman and sophomore runners.
I feel like my biggest challenge, and I still like struggle with this, is like I don't want to complain about, because there are definitely workouts where you're like, are you kidding me? But just having a good attitude and not complaining or like bad mouthing a workout or another team or your coach, and just having like the positive attitude about like, yeah, that workout is hard, or that might not be like the best coaching decision or team decision, but I'm still gonna have like a good attitude about it. And just having like talking positively about like everything in the like team atmosphere was definitely the hardest, because I was like, oh, I'm older now, like I'm giving these people rides, I'm seen as like a role model to them. So that's definitely something that I still always have to keep in mind, like, am I being positive, and am I like showing them what's like the right way to behave?
Do you think that there was any like pressure to be better at like certain workouts or certain like runs just because of the fact that you were older?
I think the good thing about cross country is it doesn't really feel like that. It's more of like, sometimes there's the thing like, oh, well, this person has been doing it longer than you, so they might be better than you. But honestly, it just comes down in cross country. Like the attitude is, it's whoever's working harder, whoever is just like faster than you, and it's not like a problem. It's just like that's kind of accepted of like whoever's working like the hardest will see more improvement. And so it was never really like wicked pressure. I feel like it was, I feel like it's just whoever's working harder sees more improvement.
Yeah, that's true. Describe who and how the cross-country runners of past years who've already graduated from Canton High influenced you and made you the runner you are today.
I would definitely say my freshman year, Emma Cunningham. I don't know if you know her, but she was a senior when I was a freshman, and she was a captain. She was just an amazing role model. She was out with an injury for the whole season, but she still would show up like every single day with like the most excited attitude to be there and just have so much fun. And I look up to her a lot still, and I think about it a lot because she was always like cheering everyone on even though she couldn't run. And she's just the best role model. She's awesome. So I definitely look up to her a lot, and she was one of the people who convinced me to keep with it.
Do you think Emma like influenced you to keep on running and like not quit and never give up?
Yeah, because she definitely like never ever gave up, even though she had that injury and she was out for a while. She still like stuck with it and was there every single day.
As a captain, explain how has obtaining this role changed the way you ran, presented yourself, and ultimately led your teammates?
I think like being captain definitely made me realize that like I was picked for a reason, so I need to like keep that reason, and like keep being that role model that people pick me for a certain reason, so I have to like keep doing that. And it definitely, this being my senior year, I was just like, I'm gonna, like take every chance and just try and like run it and live it to the fullest. So I feel like that made this season probably like the best one yet, because I was just like really sad about leaving, but also just excited to have one last season.
Did you feel any pressure to like be the bigger person for the team, or like, be more professional because you were a captain now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a new coach this year, so there was some like adjusting that we did have to step up and like show him the ropes and show everyone else the example of like, we have a new coach, there's going to be new rules, and just to like help the team respect like the new coach and get adjusted to it. So I feel like it was definitely like a step up this year. So there was more pressure, but like positive pressure.
Thank you so much for you taking the time out of your day, Emily, to sit down for this interview. I truly appreciate it. For Canton Community Television, I'm your host, Andrew Kerchak, signing off with cross country captain Emily Kelly. Thanks for watching.
This is Canton Community Television, Student Station.